So this is my collection of Flirt eyeshadows. These rectangular ones here are the individual eyeshadows that they have from the permanent line. These small ones here is just two of my limited edition sets that I depotted a long time ago, so I'll quickly cover those as well. I do have other limited edition shades that are in holiday palettes or special edition that I will do in a separate video. I have these two I'm Whipped eyeshadows. And then I've got these round ones here that are from the 40 color special edition palette. It usually comes out in the holidays. Individually, these sell, I believe, for $13.50, and you get a pretty good amount. You can tell there's a wide range of colors. There's definitely different finishes. You have everything from matte to like a liquid metal sort of finish. All of these colors blend very well. They have a lot of color payoff. There's maybe one or two eyeshadows that I've ever had some issues with, and it's nothing serious. It's nothing that would keep me from going back and purchasing that color again. I really do love these shadows. I mean, like I said, there's a wide range of colors. But I'm not the sort of person that wears, you know, very neutral colors or a lot of browns, and all of the colors within this line, I would wear these browns. I would wear, you know, these very gold-based colors. They're all so pretty. There's one eyeshadow in here that's my favorite out of any eyeshadow that I've ever tried from any line. So I'm really excited about it, and I don't feel like Flirt eyeshadows in particular are talked about enough, or maybe people just haven't tried enough of them or worked with them enough to know, you know, how good they are. So I'm going to individually go through every color and talk a little bit about the finish, how easy it is, or, you know, to work with. And yeah, you can see them up close. I'm not going to swatch them with any sort of a base. It's just going to be the shadow on its own so you could see how pigmented it is. And I'll tell you a little bit about my experience with each color if I did, for instance, have any sort of issue with it. So let's get going. These are my Flirt Dreamy Eyes eyeshadow colors. I have almost all of them. In this palette, I'm going to start by reading off the top left and going down each row all the way to the right. This is number 1, Chill Out. Number 2, Cream Puff. Number 4, Bo Peep. Number 8, Vanilla Truffle. 10, Coconutty. 11, Honey Lemonade. Up here is number 5, Peach Champagne. 17, Funny Honey. 37, Solid Gold. 7, French Toast. Number 9, Witchy. 6, Limelight. And here, 31, Limoncello. 15, Birthday Cake. 19, Girly Girl. 41, Gypsy Nights. 20, Glamorazzi, obviously another one of my favorites. I'm hitting pan there. 21, Moonstone. 34, Crocodile Rock. 24, Aquavite. 26, Banc Inc. 38, Golden Lady, probably my favorite out of everything, most favorite eyeshadow ever out of any of the makeup lines I have. And I don't even like gold colors. 22, Goody Goody. 39, Chocoholic. This is 36, Wild Night. And 23, Butterfly Kiss. And then this one's Second Nature. I'm going to be popping into this palette as well once I depot it. These smaller size shades here come from 2 separate limited edition eyeshadow palettes. They were probably a little bit bigger than the blush palette, but they had these 4 different colors. This one was like a really, really light. It almost looked white, but it was very sheer and sort of flashed a golden color. I loved it. I dropped it in the car and stepped on it, and I didn't want to, it was dirty to me after that, so I just threw it. But these are the other 3 colors. They're very pretty. I want to say the name of that was like Boombox something. I can't remember the name of either of these two, but they came out at the same time. So these are more natural goldeny brown colors, and these are blue shades. And this color here, which is the deepest out of the 4 colors, it's not that dark, so these are both very wearable shades together. So the eyeshadow packaging is the same as all the other ones, so it's got, I lost the box to it, but it's colored the same as the eyeshadow. So this is definitely smaller than the blush. It's probably, let's say about half the size. Let's take a look. Yeah. It's close to half the size of the blush packaging. It's really small. And again, easy to stack them all on top of each other. So same packaging, Flirt in the corner. You've got the product info on the back. Opens the same, you slide it open, lift up the top. I took out the little, it's got the, you know, sponge tip applicator, nothing fancy. Again, I can pop this mirror off. So this is Second Nature. It's a really pretty color. It sounds a lot like its name, Second Nature. It's a very naturally colored eyeshadow. And you can see there, it's kind of taupey, greenish, brownish color, and it has some shimmer through. So I don't know if you just heard what I said and thought that would be ugly, but it's really super pretty. This is without a base. You can see that can be applied very strongly. If you do it more with a fluffy brush, you can definitely sheer it out. It is a noticeable color on the lids, but it is absolutely not overwhelming. I am somebody where if I wear something that reads a little green, I think it looks gross on me. Even though this one does have like a green tinge to it, it looks really pretty. It's not ugly at all, and it doesn't look awkward. And I have put this on a friend of mine who is very pale, and it was a little bit more noticeable, but definitely a very pretty neutral color. These are those first 6 colors. This is Chill Out. It's a very frosty white. I don't wear it too much. If you try to pack it on, you probably need a base. It can be a little bit funny to work with, but if you want just like a sheer wash over the lid, it applies really nicely. It's just when you try to pack it on, it gets a little bit difficult. Next one over is Cream Puff, which I use almost all the time. I use it just as a wash all over the lid with some wing liner, or I use it to blend out other colors. Next one in is Bo Peep. Again, it's a very natural skin toned kind of shade, but it's a little bit more peach, almost orange. It's very pigmented. If you put this on someone who has very cool toned skin, it's definitely flattering to their skin tone. Next is Vanilla Truffle. It's kind of like a very light brown. I use that for blending out a lot as well. Next one over is Coconutty, which is a deeper brown. Very pigmented on that one. And then Honey Lemonade. Honey Lemonade, as you can see, very iridescent. Kind of more of a yellowy than a golden flash through it. So if you put this in the center of the lid, it can really complement some other colors. But if you put this all over, sometimes it can look a bit funny. So quickly before I cover these next 6 colors, I did forget to say that Cream Puff, Bo Peep, Vanilla Truffle, and Coconutty are very matte. So definitely all around colors. They're very useful, very neutral. So over here on the left is Peach Champagne. It is very kind of subtly golden, peachy colored. I often use that color all over the lid as well. Next is Funny Honey. It's kind of like a lavendery pinkish color, obviously with some shimmer. I wouldn't say any of these are very frosty. You might be tempted to say that, but they're not overwhelmingly, you know, too shimmery or sparkly. Next is Solid Gold. Definitely just straight up gold color. Then French Toast, which is another one that I use all around because definitely is highly pigmented, but it's not overwhelming of a brown. It's not too dark. It's definitely not too light. And it has that shimmer through it, so it's very pretty. Next is Witchy, which is a little bit more of like a golden, lighter brown color. And then over here is Limelight. Limelight is Very, very iridescent, very much a pearly color. As you move it, it flashes pink, purple, green, a little bit of blue. It's a really odd color, but it's really nice to mix in with some other shades. But it can be tricky. Tricky in the sense that it goes with so many things that sometimes you're not sure how to wear it. But it's so pretty, and if you put this over a cream base, it's awesome. It's like liquid iridescence on your eyes. So the next 6. First one on the left is Limoncello. I honestly am not a big fan of this color. It's kind of like a yellowy lime green. So the name definitely is well suited, but this is that kind of shade that I don't think looks very good on me. It's very, very light, very shimmery, and it's very yellowy green. So if you like that bright kind of color where it's not a neon green, then that one's good for you. And then the next one is Birthday Cake. I take back what I said before. This is probably the only frosty color out of all of them. I'm not the biggest pink fan. This one, I don't even know if it's reading as pink as it is because it's so frosty. That one there, Birthday Cake. Next over is Girly Girl. This is definitely just a nice pink color. It's not too bright. It's kind of that middle of the road pink. Next over is Gypsy Nights. This is one of my favorites. This is like a more of a purpley based pink, and it has some gold through it. Next over is Glamorazzi. Glamorazzi is one of the ones that I use the most. I'm not even sure if that'll read, but you can see that sparkle through there. It's a purple color, and it's a little bit shimmery, but then it's got so much gold running through it, and the gold does not flake away. The gold stays on your lids. That is definitely what makes that color so pretty. It's something you can lightly brush over the lids and you can definitely see its color, or you can pack it on and have it be this just amazing purple that's not too deep. It looks purple, it does not look brown or pink. And then it's got that gold coming through, so it's so pretty. And then the next one over is Moonstone. That one's kind of between purpley, plummy, brownish tone. So even though it's a purple, it's very neutral. It's really pretty too. So these next 6. First one is Crocodile Rock. This is definitely a green that's wearable. It's very deep, but it's got some sparkle through there, so it makes it a lot more noticeable. If you apply it with a fluffy brush to sheer it out, it still reads very green, but it does not at all read a bright green where it can be a little funny on the lid. So I love that color. Next one over is Aquavite. It's a very, very bright blue. Kind of reminds me of Mimi. I can't remember the name of that show, but just this crazy bright blue. Reminds me of the 60s color. But if you sheer it out, it can kind of start to go sky blue. So I definitely wear that more on the sheer side. Next one over is Black Ivy. Black Ivy can be a little bit powdery when you apply it, but if you blend it out, these are all very soft eyeshadows, so once you blend it out, it's not troublesome at all, but you can kind of see, if I go to swatch it, it comes out a little bit powdery. The one in the middle right there is Golden Lady. This is my favorite eyeshadow out of any eyeshadow I've ever owned. Not even just within Flirt, within all of the brands I've ever had. I do not like gold. I'm not the biggest fan of brown colors. This is so bright. It's a gold that it's basically like the light hits this gold and that's what you see. It's not flat at all. It's not frosty. It's kind of a shimmery color, but it's just the light hits it no matter what, and it's so gold. And it's not dark, but it's kind of like a deep gold. I don't even know if that makes sense. But this is my all-time favorite. I definitely recommend if you're a gold fan, pick up Golden Lady. It was, when it first came out, a limited edition shade. sold out of it all the time, and I think now it's permanent. Absolute favorite. The next one over is Goody Goody. It's a very deep plummy color. A little bit of brown undertones in there. And then the last one on the end is Chocoholic. So it's a browner shade. And it's not too golden and it's not too bronze. It's like the perfect shimmery brown color. And this one also hits the light no matter what angle. But this is definitely, you know, dark brown kind of golden color, and this is just straight up gold. These ones I do wear a lot. But again, Golden Lady right there in the middle. I don't even think this video will do it justice. I don't think pictures will do it justice. It's amazing. Okay, so these next ones, Wild Night. And this is another one. It does get a little bit powdery. This is the black from their line. They don't have a matte black that I've seen. This black has a lot of silver shimmer through it. It's got finer flecks and larger ones. So when you blend it, the larger ones do kind of have fallout. It is a little bit tricky. It's probably, this one and Black Ivy are the trickiest ones to work with, but if you use a base, it's fine. The next one over is Butterfly Kiss. You can see that's a very, very soft blue color. It's almost sky blue, except that it very, very, very subtly has like a lavender tone to it. And then these next ones here, across the top is from that first set. This is Golden Lady. This, I want to say they made Second Nature from this color. This is a little bit less taupe than Second Nature, but this is kind of like medium tone brown, very shimmery, or pearl finish. I guess I should say that most of these have a pearl finish. And this one is another one of my favorites. It's a deep brown with gold shimmer through it. It reminds me of Galapagos from NARS, except this one, the shimmer is so finely milled that it doesn't have fallout. It's definitely all the way through that color. It's very, very pretty. That is a brown I would wear, and I don't like to wear browns. And then these here are from that more blue palette. So you've got the lighter going all the way through to this darker one, which again, it's not that dark. If I blend that out, you can see. This is the limited edition 40 pan eyeshadow palette. They come out every year around Christmas time. These colors do not have names. Some of them are close to the colors you can find in the permanent line, but they're all just really pretty, and every year they kind of reformat and improve on some of the colors or add a couple of new shades. But I don't buy the palette every year because a lot of the colors are very similar. But you can see you've got like an orangey shade here, these two. You've got a little bit of a brighter green. This is still very wearable. It's not as dark as Crocodile Rock, but really pretty. This color is very unique. This is a blue. It looks really light, but once you get it blended on there, it's kind of deeper, very bright. It's a little bit frosty, but not overwhelmingly frosty. It's really pretty. Then you've got a true bright blue there. You've got some nice neutral colors over here. And then you've got some more like pink peachy shades up here in the corner. Some purples as well. So I like these palettes. They're definitely worth buying. The colors are all really pigmented. They're really unique colors, and they do have some neutrals in there. Again, they do change every year a little bit. So if you don't get one year, I'm sure one will come out the next. And Flirt always, their limited edition sets go to clearance, so you can definitely pick this up. I think most of the time the set is $29.99 or something like that, but I found them on clearance for like $10, $12. If you're lucky and they have a lot left, you can get them for $5 sometimes, so these are definitely worth purchasing, even at full price. These are my I'm Whipped eyeshadow mousses. I only have two. I mean, there's a bunch of different colors, The reason I only have 2 is I've had them for quite some time, and usually I'm in a hurry. I use these as all over colors or as bases, but these tops twist off and sometimes I do not close them all the way and they end up drying up, or I just use them so much that I run out of them. The 2 colors I have here is this sort of shimmery lavender color, which is called Showtime. And I've also got this very shimmery light blue color. So pretty the way this reflects. And this is number 5, Cruisin'. So if you can tell, you can sort of move it around a little bit and it doesn't really, it's not sticky and it's not too creamy. You can see a little bit of that sparkle there. But this is a mousse. So I guess what I could reference it to now is the Maybelline bouncy, you know, cheek colors and those ones. I've played with those. I don't own them, but it's the same sort of feel. These will obviously be a little bit different, and these have come out a long time ago. But these are, again, I use them as bases a lot to bring a little bit of shimmer through more of a matte color, or just intensify maybe a more, you know, satin finish or shimmery finish. And I use them just on their own all over the lid as well. These are great to use. Just know that you have to keep the lids on very tight because, again, they can dry out. And when they do dry out, they're a little bit more, you have to sort of wet your brush and use them, and then of course that shears the product out, or you have to really work it into the skin because it can get very, very thick. So these definitely ideally are fresh, where you always keep the lid closed and never let it dry out, because this one's a little bit more dry than this other one. If this was, you can see I can move it around, but you can see how it's sort of balling up a little bit. That's when it starts to become something hard to work with on the eye, especially because you don't want to be pulling on your eyelid. But if these are, you know, not dried out, they're amazing. But just keep in mind, you gotta keep the lid on these or else they kind of get ruined. So these, I think, are $12, and I'm going to go ahead and swatch them so you can see the colors. The one on the left is Showstopper, which is a very, like, light pale lilac-y, like, soft purple color. It does have shimmer going through. And then Cruisin', which is that very bright light blue color, it has shimmer as well, but it's also got more of like silvery flecks going through it. Very, very pretty. You can definitely see much more of the iridescence on the eye in the blue color, Cruisin', as opposed to Showtime. Another color I would absolutely recommend is High Maintenance. High Maintenance is sort of like a goldy brownish bronze, but it's very, very shimmery. That's of course awesome on its own. Amazing under a base. It's not the same sort of gold as Golden Lady eyeshadow. It's completely different, but it's a beautiful color. It might have like a hint of purple in it. I wish I had it to swatch it for you, but you can go into the store and try it. But that is definitely one that I loved when I owned it, and I ran out of that one because I used it all the time.